Alright, in my continuing mission to see Blitz through the eyes of a new player, before I check in on Jon Snow, the alter ego side project that I have going on. And where we last left him, he was in Tier 6, but actually this is an important moment in Jon's Blitz career, because he's moving into Tier 7, boys and girls. That's right, Tier 7. There it is, the T29, in all its glory. The M6 actually isn't as bad. Don't need that anymore. Gone. Isn't as bad as I remember, but as I'll describe in this video, I think there's more to it than that. So Jon's got to Tier 7 in around 239 games, and I'm a bit disappointed with that because I miscalculated as usual. I miscalculated the XP, over-recovered, could have done it in a couple of games less, let's say that. So Jon's stats for this period are Unicom. And personally speaking, I would kill for stats like this on my main account. Really high, decent average damage, managed to get through all of the tiers, no worries at all. Tier 6, stormed it in the M6. Never thought I'd use those words. 100% pretty much Unicom in Tier 6. Played the M6 pretty much stock with like no spares, nothing on it. And I could imagine if I played the M6 on my main account with everything loaded on it, I wouldn't get anything close to these stats in terms of win rate or damage or whatever. So what was found in the gameplay is very, very interesting in a lot of ways, and I'll talk about that by reference to a couple of games. The other thing is the T34 number 183 global in it, and I'd never do that on my main account either. It's not that Jon's luckier than me, it's just that going out and farming on average 2k damage in it was just ridiculously easy. People seem to drive in front of Jon the whole time, and he just shot him, and that's that. So here's some observations about what it was like to play as Jon across those 200 odd games to get to Tier 7. And the first observation I have, and this is all going to be anecdotal folks, so I can't prove it, no one can prove it, no one's seen the fabled matchmaking algorithm or whatever, no one has ever gone open book on this. But the first observation I'd have, and I'm showing this game because it's quite typical, is that I saw a lot of stock tanks, right? Look at the Tiger 1 there. That's a stock turret, right? I think he's actually got the big gun on it, but it's a stock turret on a Tiger. So I saw a lot of stock tanks. I'm not going to show anyone's profile in this video because it would be out of order, and these people are trying to learn the game. But I was seeing average win rates are usually around 40%, and generally between 10 and sort of 400 battles. 400 battles seem to be almost the max. Saw a few people with 1,000 games, but they were quite exceptional. So as a result of that, even playing a stock M6 pretty much, with 75% crew skills, no perks, no mods, no rammer, no nothing, it was easy to play games like this and farm a lot of damage and really do things without an awful lot of consequence without working too hard. So like I said, Jon finished in Unicom stats in the M6 and a rate damage of way over 1,000. So like I said, I don't think I could do that on my main account. If I bought the M6 again, drove it stock, put it that way, put 4 rounds of promo in it, didn't put any perks, mods or whatever on it, took it out. With my matchmaker on my main account, I would have my arse handed to me. In no uncertain terms, I'd be on like 40% win rate. I'd do well to survive most games in it. And yet for Jon, progression is easy, and you can see alongside the Stock Tiger, who's had a nice game, bless him. He's front-lined an M6 and just smashed the red guys, and can't ever remember doing that in the M6. Maybe I was just a noob when I bought it. But man, it was a revelation to me in a lot of ways. So the tier 6 grind, such as it wasn't a grind. John also got a SU100Y in a crate. Surprise, surprise. So when we all wonder why there's hundreds of those bloody things out there, well, it's no mystery. It's given away. That was after about 150 games. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not a scheduled drop even. Do you know what I mean? So John can move on to the T29. And this is the first game in it. And again, I'd make the same observations as with the M6. So I could drive a stock T29, and you're going to see what I can do in it. And it really surprised me how easy again it was to bring the damage and win. Imagine a scenario whereby, again on my main account, I buy a T29, I don't put anything on it, I play it, and after like 4 games I have a 75% win rate in it. That it doesn't seem right, does it? The other thing which to me doesn't seem right is the fact that I am in tier 7 driving a T29 in 235 odd games. That doesn't seem right, does it? There'll be many Unicoms out there who don't consider tier 7 to be a high tier at all, and maybe they're right. I happen to think tier 7's a fairly advanced tier. There's certainly bigger guns out there, and what should be higher skill levels, really. If you're reaching this level, but of course, if you're thinking about getting to tier 7 in 235 games, well, actually I guess there's no real guarantee of higher skill levels. So what I think, and what I can't prove from this, is that perhaps there's almost, the way the Wargaming have done this is almost to segregate players off. So if they're under, let's pick a number, I can't prove it, I need to keep playing on this account. So they're players under 400 games. I think that they've segregated those players off, and they haven't dropped them into the main pool of players. If you look at the opposition I've had as Jon Snow, it's all been like this, and even driving stock tanks has been easy. I haven't seen, and maybe I will now I'm in tier 7, but I haven't seen any of the clans that I would recognise. There's no Locas, there's no Krakens, there's no name needed, there's no old, there's none of the guys I play with in WoW. There's none of the, I haven't noticed a single established clan on either team in any of these games. So you could say, oh yeah, well, T-Shep, that's a bloody conspiracy theory that this is almost segregated off. But for all of that, if I look at the number of stock tanks, I look at the lack of big clans, I look at how easy it is to drive stock tanks, and in the case of the T34, I mean John had like the 230th highest damage on the EU server. I mean, again, sorry, I can't do that on that just wouldn't happen on my main account. I would not be farming 2-3k damage like that with the sort of matchmaking I get on my main account. So I think that there's something going on. Now what will get interesting is as John grinds the, look at that, oh god, this tank's a turd stock, so slow, it's glacial. But as I grind up through tier 7 and I get maybe 300-400 battles, maybe I'll notice a point whereby it drops and it just gets harder and better players start dropping in and established clans start dropping in. So like I said, maybe it's a good thing that this is the case. So we all say, well, yeah, the game's full of noobs and this and that. But put the other way, maybe we're not seeing them all. You know, maybe they're all playing around together until they get dropped in at, say, 400 games. Look, I don't know. It's a theory. I'm going to test it. I'm going to grind the T29, or John's going to drive the T29 and get it to tier 8, and then we'll have a look-see. Anyway, update on the bastard himself. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.